and economic strategies aimed at stabilizing the economy, fostering growth, and address the country's fiscal challenges. In fact, a major highlight of the budget is expected to be the removal of what people call controversial taxes. Indeed, they are controversial taxes. The electronic transaction levy, electronic transfer levy, the e-levy. There's also the COVID-19 health levy and the betting tax. These levies were introduced by the previous government and they were widely criticized for placing additional financial burdens on Ghanaians. The Mahama administration has constantly pledged to ease the tax burden on individuals and businesses while implementing measures to stimulate economic recovery. Whether or not these taxes will be removed, will they be renamed, will they be reduced? We'll get to know after the budget presentation by the finance minister. If they are removed, they will provide relief to mobile money users, businesses and individuals engaged in online betting. In fact, beyond tax policy, the budget is also expected to focus on job creation, infrastructure development, and social interventions aimed at improving the livelihoods of Ghanaians. Michael Obodu and Beatrice Adu, they're joining me in the studio to talk about this 2025 budget statement, economic policy. Michael Obodu, how are you, senior?
I'm fine, my brother. You know, before we go into the nitty-gritties, I can't believe Beatrice Adu just asked me if that is Lord Kenya. Sometimes I wonder if she's really a millennial or a Gen Z.
Don't believe him.
Beatrice, who is that?
Don't believe him.
Whose song is
no,
that?
you see.
Beatrice, whose song is that? They are not necessary. But Charlie, the NDC manifesto promises, maybe Beatrice, I'll start with you. What are some of the items in focus of the NDC manifesto?
I mean, there are a number of them, and you talked about the taxes bit, which has been one of the topics dominating discussions even ahead of the budget presentation.
Right.
The e-levy, the COVID-19 levy, the emissions tax, and all those stuff. So, of course, that's something that the NDC promised ahead of the 2024 general election. They won, and now they intend to deal with them. So, scrapping of e-levy, COVID-19, 10% levy on bet winnings. It's interesting that the betting bit has also been, you know, a number of people are talking about it. Others are proposing that we cut it. For instance, yesterday, I think IEA proposed that we cut it down to 5%.
Right.
Others are saying it should go up from 10% to between 20 and 50%. There are those who are thinking that just scrap it because you're going to discourage people from engaging in what they think is morally wrong when it comes to our society.
I see.
Of course, emissions levy as well. Import duty on vehicles and equipment imported into the country for industrial and agricultural purposes. And
so the things you've mentioned are the things the NDC in the lead up to the 2024 election said they would scrap.
They would scrap.
So these are tax handles. They say that when they win power, like they have one right now, they will scrap going
But
forward.
you see, I have a bit of an issue with the last bit, though. Import duty on vehicles and equipment. I don't have a problem that they are going to deal with it. But the fact that it is only towards the agric industry, I understand that we want to boost the agricultural sector because we need it. If we have sufficient food, we'll cut down on import of so many food items, rice, sugar, and a lot of stuff. But I wish it was extended to other vehicles as well, because I'm telling you that if you know people who import vehicles for either private or commercial use, they tell you how much they pay. I mean, if you import it for, is it $6,000, you end up paying like $7,000 in terms of how much you pay at the ports.
They say you buy two and you sell one to clear one.
Yeah, so I wish there was a way around it instead of just limiting it to the agri sector alone. Yes.
Let's go back to the taxes they said they'll scrap. And Michael, my first question to you would be, do you think, let's start with the e-levy. Do you think it is possible for government to scrap these taxes that they suggested or promised to scrap in their manifestos?
I think at this point we've gone beyond the whether or not governments can scrap it because of the level of promise they made ahead of the elections and the demands, especially of the public. I dare say that the e-levy and the promise to scrap it was one of the reasons why
they were voted for.
Okay. So at this point, they ought to live up. They don't have a choice, but they have to live up to expectations.
And the COVID levy as well?
The COVID levy, there's been a lot of talk about the COVID levy. Some, of course, others have argued that the pandemic is over, the levy's of no use anymore. So why continue to tax it? The last time I was at the ports, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Director General there raised concerns about the fact that we are even charging COVID levy on goods that are in transit. So goods that pass through the ports in Ghana are paying COVID levy. You know, all of this becomes a disincentive to want to do business at the country's ports. So COVID levy, it must go as it stands now.
Will it be renamed? Could it be possibly renamed? You know, we're talking about the Agenda 111 hospitals, for instance, money to build them.
For me, I think that there are two separate conversations.
Right.
Whether renaming or what, the point is that the bottom line is that there will be no tax handle for COVID levies.
Okay.
So if that part is taken care of, at least we know in all good conscience that we are not paying any levies or taxes with regards to COVID.
Okay.
The other big question on all of this is that I believe there were 3 tax handles that if government scraps, I think a KPMG report yesterday over the weekend highlighted the fact that government could lose over 6 billion cedis in revenue if you scrap that. And you see, the government has a lot of goodwill. They seem to be ticking the right boxes. The big question now is, how do they plan to make up for that revenue deficit?
Exactly.
That is the big question. It's not even about whether or not they scrap. Right now, we've gone beyond that. They will scrap it. But it's one thing that we are all looking out for to see. Are they going to do drastic expenditure cuts?
Will that be enough?
Would that be enough to make up for the 6-point-something billion? Then the question also going forward is, how does this also trickle down to affect the economy? Because, you know, if government is not spending in the economy efficiently or sufficiently, the growth in the economy also would be stifled. Unless, on the other hand, as a fallout from the National Economic Dialogue, government hopes to have a big private sector push in propelling this economy forward. Well, we would like to see how they plan to implement that, if that really is the way they are hoping to go. And Beatrice already spoke about the 10% levy on bet winnings. That, I think that is a giving. Let's stay a bit more on the emissions levy. That's also another interesting one, because some argue that government is giving tax waivers to car manufacturing companies to come and assemble cars in the country. When we buy those cars, we come back and pay levies on them. So why not incentivize, for instance, the electric vehicle industry so that it becomes more affordable? If really the focus is to protect our environment, then create, incentivize people to want to pick alternatives that are more eco-friendly. So why aren't we giving, for instance, the tax waivers to the electric car companies to come and assemble? Why aren't we giving discounts to imported electric cars and the likes, so that instead of going for combustion engines and go and pay the emissions levy, we are more inclined towards going for cleaner mobility options? And those are the conversations that we are hoping to see how this government plans to address it in the budget.
Let's move on to the next one we're talking about. So the NDC, still on the NDC manifesto. Let's talk about the review options that the NDC suggested before they won the 2024 elections. Talk to us about them, Michael.
So there's the price stabilization recovery levy on fuel to cushion consumers. If you remember, sometime last year, I believe, the NP was in the news for some issues with regards to the price. You understand that they suspended the levy for a while to give us some breathing space. I think it's about 30 pesos or so.
When price of fuel went up, running very high.
Originally, that levy was instituted to help serve as some cushion to absorb the shock of price hikes. But some have argued that over the period, have we really seen the levy serve its purpose, or it's become just another avenue for for raising money or for
to get money.
Get money. So those really are the questions. It will be interesting to see how they plan to roll it out and ensure that it is effective and not a white elephant as it has been with this particular one, because we've not really seen the impact. Price of fuel have skyrocketed over the period. If you look at the rate at which fuel prices have grown over the last, say, 4 years, it has more than tripled.
Yeah, because I remember very clearly that in 2021, I was buying a liter of fuel or petrol for just 6 cedis. In fact, sometimes it was 5 point something. And now in 2025, how much is it?
Depending on where you buy from, but
let's use the major OMC.
At least 15 cedis
exactly.
minimum.
Yes.
You will be paying for basically for fuel, and those are the critical questions. And you know how all of this translates and impacts on the economy.
The price of fuel will directly affect everything. Transport prices, goods and services,
cost of living.
Traders, everybody would have a fair share of this. Beatrice, the quest to rationalize fees and charges at the port as well, how different will that be from, if you like, the fifth promise to scrap that tax at the port?
So this is how I see it. It perhaps answers the question I was asking earlier. The first one is looking specifically at the agri sector. If you're importing vehicles for that purpose, then we're going to ensure that we do something about it.
Right.
But fees and charges at the port, it means that it covers everything.
It goes beyond vehicles.
It goes beyond those vehicles that are meant for the agri sector. And I can tell you that I think I've shared this story here before, where I imported this very phone you see me holding. I imported it, and then it got to the port, and I was told to pay an amount which was almost the same price as I used to buy the phone, because I couldn't get the same phone right here, so I had to import it. And it didn't make sense to me. Why? Especially when I used the courier services, right? I was expecting that the charges they gave me would cover that. So my expectation was they take it from wherever I imported it from and they bring it right to me. But they took it and dumped it at the airport. And the idea was that I had to go and pay import duty on it, as well as some other taxes on it. And it was going to be even more than what I paid for. So I want to believe that rationalizing fees and charges at the port perhaps would cover such things, so that I don't have to, they call it, is it double taxation or whatever it is?
So they said, the NEC in their manifesto said they would review or rationalize the fees and charges at the ports, of course, so that importation would be a little bit easy for people who want to venture into that. There's also the bit about Ghana's that regime. There are concerns that it may not be serving our best interest yet. Michael, what's the latest on that?
The VAT conversation has been an interesting one as to how it is charged, how it is implemented. There have been issues of am I not paying double VAT on the product and the likes. And you know how any tax element on goods and services impacts directly on the average consumer.
Right.
You've heard people like the Ghana Union of Traders Associations raise concerns about how the VAT is being implemented and how it is not business friendly, and sometimes even how to calculate it is another issue. So it'll be interesting to know when the government says rationalize, what are they coming to do? Are they coming to streamline
exactly does it mean?
Are they coming to put a flat rate to it? How are they going to clear the ambiguity?
Some businesses have asked for flat rates for these things. Asakia Wingobit, for instance, he has been advocating for this for a very, very long time. We'll get answers from the finance minister when he presents the budget, but these are some of the expectations we have of the finance minister.
But again, let's just go a little bit to the VAT. How also will it reflect in when I go to the malls or the market to buy stuff?
Okay.
Because it's something that I've taken keen interest in when I accidentally looked at my receipt one day. So subsequently, anytime I go to shop, anytime I go to shop and I get my receipt and I get home and I'm crisscrossing, like, did I get all the items I paid for? And I check how much I originally should have paid for and the VAT that was on it. I'm like, wow, that's quite
how much
huge.
are we paying for VAT again?
So like I said, it's not really clear on some instances, but I think at some points it's 17.5%. There's also some technicalities about VAT on raw materials and
the calculation.
It's quite murky, but basically that's that's why it would be very important to see what the government plans to do really with its how did you put it, a reform of the VAT system, and how it plans to make it clear and not a disincentive for businesses, basically.
Let's move on to some other expectations of the NDC based on their manifesto of this budget. So some free promises the NDC made that helped them to win the 2024 elections. A no academic fee policy for all first-year students in public tertiary institutions under the No Fees Stress Initiative. Now, this will require a lot of funding for the NDC to be able to do this. There's also free tertiary education for persons with disability, and then free primary health care. Free items in the NDC manifesto. Michael, where do they get the money from to do this?
That is the big question, especially when it comes to freebies. And if we learned anything from the previous government, it's the fact that when you are giving freebies, you will have to pay some way, one way or the other. But then another issue for me beyond all of these freebies is how does this also impact on the tertiary institutions? At least we've seen them operate fairly okay when they were collecting their fees. It would be good to understand how the government plans to disburse, for instance, the funds to these institutions to make up.
If there are delays,
how do they make up for it? What really is the issue? So I'm sure some clarity may come under some of these issues to make sure that we do not end up, for lack of a better word, mess up the tertiary institutions in the country by tampering with their cash flows. The persons with disability one, I think that's a big one. I think it's a fantastic idea. It will also help to clarify when they say persons with disability, what really are the criteria really, because disability comes in various forms. So it'll be good to also understand who qualifies for what. Somebody who has some challenge with their vision. There are some people who may not look like they have issues with their sight, but they have some challenges with their vision. So automatically, would you call that person a person with a disability that should qualify? So we need clarity on how they plan to categorize these class of people.
There's a lot more free items, and Beatrice, walk us through what beyond the three we've mentioned. There's a concern too about free sanitary pads for schoolgirls, among others.
I think that's really critical, because if you've never been to the rural areas, either on a visit or for a project, you never understand how much it takes for girls to get to classrooms. And so free sanitary pads for schoolgirls, among others. And that's something that the Vice President, Professor Nana Jeno-Pokwajiman, really championed, talked a lot about, even ahead of the 2024 general election. Also, the free technical and vocational training for young people in various crafts. I do hope that there will be that nice or positive promotional stuff around this, because Crosby, I'm sure if you've picked a lot more as regards what society thinks about vocational stuff, they feel it's for those who are not academically brilliant, and so society tends to favor those who want to be lawyers, the doctors, the journalists, the white collar jobs, and for a long time we've ignored technical and vocational training because of the negative perceptions about it. So for this to be pushed to people, I think raises that entrepreneurial skills in a lot of people who may not necessarily be dumb, but they are just not interested in your white collar jobs. So, and then free laptops, tablets for students. Well, let's see how that one goes.
I'll take a go at the free technical and vocational training for young people in various crafts. I think that's a brilliant idea. I don't know why we have sort of relegated technical and vocational skills and training in this country to the background. Yet no country can develop progressively without technical and vocational skills. I was talking to a friend.
They are a very important part of the economy.
I tell you, I was talking to a friend in Ireland, I believe, yesterday, and she says that over there, people with handiworks make the most money.
Of course.
And she was telling me that someone who makes wig caps can make as much money as an accountant in the office.
I see.
If not more. And yet, I think that as a country, as a people, we really need a reorientation. And you see, COVID really taught us a lot of things. And if we still haven't averted our minds to it, then we may be running really late. Do you notice that during COVID, when there were lockdowns and a lot of white-collar jobs officials couldn't go to work in their rooms?
That's true.
Yet,
a lot of people were laid off their jobs. People had to rely on handworks, soap making.
I know a tailor who was exporting clothes during lockdown.
COVID. Well,
because whether you like it or not, you will still wear clothes.
Yes.
The caterers were supplying food. Some of them even became innovative, and were delivering the food to our homes. We really need to rethink a lot of these things, and we have to find a way to use TVET in our basic schools to introduce our students more to this and give them the hands-on experience to whet their appetite, and find a way to introduce a synergy between that and entrepreneurship education at the basic level. If our kids begin to try this out and firsthand see how they can make money even from these skills that they've acquired, I don't think we'll be having issues with the unemployment in the country. So just to go back to it, and I'm expecting that there will be some sort of a synergy between the training that they are given, and then they have this, I think 1 million apprentice
National Apprenticeship Program.
There should be a connection between some of these, a synergy between all of these policies.
So they're not isolated.
Such that it's holistic. Let us know how you plan to feed into the apprenticeship program from some of these students. And let's have a holistic program, because, you see, if I'm going to go to school and I know it's for free, and I know that by the time I'm done, job placement shouldn't be a problem, I think it will be a big win for the country.
There are a lot of things that the NDC mentioned in their manifesto. Should we expect that all of them begin immediately?
From when we said, I'll be surprised if they did.
So if you were to pick and choose which ones they should start with, pegging that against the expectations of the people who voted for them, which ones should they start doing?
With regards to the free items?
Yes, the free items.
Let's look at the first part. I think that, can we flip to the first image? For me, I want to also know, we've seen the free sanitary pads. It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
The challenge, especially from a finance perspective, with monitoring consumables, it's a very hectic one.
Yeah.
So how are we going to ensure that, because you see, if I go and bring a budget, an expenditure, and tell you that I've spent 1 million Ghana cedis or 1 billion Ghana cedis supplying sanitary pads, we can't track it.
Exactly.
Because they are consumables, they've been used. If I come, will you follow me to the houses of the people? No, you can't. So you see, some of these policies, they are quite dicey. However, it will also be interesting to know how they plan to integrate homegrown solutions into this. Are we going to find a local way to produce very affordable sanitary pads and like that will not cost an arm and a leg? Does, for instance, CSIR have a research material on eco-friendly sanitary pads that can be made at home? I've seen pieces or documentaries on sanitary pads that were made from everyday material around that you can make a kit with, and then you are good to go. So we need to really probe into these so that we don't come and create another albatross around our neck, and then before we see it, sanitary pads are costing us 1 billion Ghana cedis every year.
We can't really know
exactly. So for this one, for me, I would say that until we can find a very holistic way to approach this, such that we should take our time. And it will also be important to hear, for instance, what key stakeholders like the Association of Ghana Industries are proposing in the implementation of this policy. Can we find a way to incentivize them and say, okay, if you're a sanitary pad producer in the country, can you supply maybe XYZ schools within your community and get a waiver off your VAT?
Okay.
Or your tax at the end of the day.
So some form of arrangement.
So that it doesn't become a liability on the government books.
It's not too cumbersome.
So those are the things that...
Perhaps it's time for the government to really give us clarity on how it intends to implement this. So that at least we are all on the same page regarding how they intend to go about it. I think these ideas are fantastic.
Let's move on to some other free promises by the NDC. There's a free primary health care from the CHIPS compound to the polyclinic level in the short to medium term, as well as free access to social and health services public transport for Ghanaians 60 years and above. I'm sure this also falls under the second one. It falls under the what would need to be explained to know the modalities or work with, so that we're not we don't miss money in some areas.
So in terms of the CHIPS compound, okay, again, I'll refer to the rural areas. When you go to the rural areas, some of the main challenges they face are that the CHIPS compounds are
the outskirts of town?
They are, of course, they are supposed to be within like the farthest or the hardest to reach areas.
Right.
But again, they are not too close. Also, access to these CHIP compounds are difficult.
So you're talking about roads?
Access, yes, roads, and I mean how they are sparsely distributed. In addition to access, one of the challenges they've also had, or two other challenges, have been even health officials being there. You go to some CHIPS compounds and there's just one person, and sometimes there's not even a person there. I mean, and so it becomes difficult, and also the necessary medicines or the equipment they need. I mean, the things to run these CHIPS compounds
may not be available.
Right. So instead of free primary health care, why don't we perhaps look at the basics of the problem, which is that don't make them too sparsely available, sparsely distributed. They should be, and normally if you look at the Ghana Health Services statistics as regards where to place CHIP compounds, they look at the number of people who are living in which districts and communities, and they are able to know that, okay, if we have, let's say, 5,000 in this area, we need about 2 CHIPS compounds located, let's say, within the north and the south, because that's where people are closely, living, and they can easily access these things. So you need to look at all these things and the availability of health personnel and the equipment and medicines they need before you even look at the free primary health care, because in some of the cases the people have the money, because some of them are farmers or they are doing their businesses,
and they may be able to
take care of themselves, but the equipment, the medicines and the personnel may not be available for them to get that.
Let's move on to some more free items promised by the NDC in their manifesto. There's also develop a survivors care kit for victims of gender-based violence, including free legal services, medical examinations, emergency contraception, HIV, prophylaxis, mental health care services, and necessary medications. Some more.
Crosby, before you go into that, I think I want to touch briefly on the free transport service for persons
60 years and above.
60 years. Yeah. You see, this policy is a great idea. However, you and I know that its implementation will be very minimal in its impact, because of a truth. What percentage of public transport is controlled by government? What percentage of public transportation in this country is controlled by government? We have Ayalulu, which is not really functioning. We have which is not functioning to optimum levels. We have the intercity metro mass. We have STC. These are the only 3 that I can think of.
We know when they all began. President Kufuor buses, and how
you haven't even made the bus lanes available. The trotros have taken over the bus lanes.
For me, I think that public transportation in a country can just not be left in the hands of the private sector. Forgive me, but I think that government must begin to play an important role in that space by being actively involved. If it is not going to be able to do it, let's do it through a public-private partnership. Get a proper public transportation system in the country. See, we can't make progress as a people if you can't be able to plan your day with a public transport system. Because if I have to be by the roadside at 5:30 because I want to get to work on time by 8, you are failing as a people. Seriously, because you are spending over 2 hours lost time just trying to commute within a distance that wouldn't have taken you more than 20-30 minutes.
I mean, that's a complete overhaul you're talking about.
We have to grab the bull by the horn.
The kind of transport system we have, dominated by the trotros, where you go to the station or you stand on the roadside, and if you are at the station until the bus is full, it is not moving. There is no time to it. And so if you go there at 5 a.m. and you have to get to work at 7 and the bus is not full, forget, you're going to stay in
exactly.
it. And so you're looking at an overhauling of this, transport system, and of course your roads.
That's why we need a holistic transportation enhancement program. But in my opinion, we need to tackle this holistically. And someone will say, if you decide to let government take over the transport system, what happens to the private sector? Do it in partnership with GPRTU. Let them be shareholders in it. Let the private owners sell off their cars to distribution van companies and the likes. Bring that money, buy stakes in the PPP program, and let us run this thing properly. Because I had a friend who lived in France, and he says that if you miss a bus, you will not be more than 10 minutes late.
Yep.
Not more than, because in the next 10 minutes, a bus will come.
Especially on weekdays.
So why is this rocket science? Rwanda is doing it. We are seeing Rwanda implement it beautifully. Why don't we copy well and make life better for us? Because truth be told, Crosby, you and I may not need private cars if public transport systems
was working properly.
A colleague was telling me that he paid 7 cedis in an electric bus from Adenta to the office. In a week, in a month, you even multiply that by 30 days, assuming he commutes every day. 7 cedis by that would be 14 cedis and 30. That's about 72 cedis or something like that, or also in a month. If you do the math, and that's 210 cedis. Yeah, 210 cedis going. Coming back 210 cedis, so 420 cedis a month. If you are spending that much commuting to and fro, you don't have to buy fuel, you don't have to pay for maintenance,
and the convenience
it comes with. And sometimes you are driving and you are sleepy and tired. We wish you could take a nap. If we fix the system, life will be comfortable for us. You and I won't have to go and think about where to raise the next 600 cedis to fill your tank. You understand?
So what we're trying to let you understand right now is what the promises of the NDC has been before they won the 2024 elections, and what we expect of them in the 2025 budget statement and economic policy to be presented by the finance minister. This is still 3FM 92.7. We're going for a quick break. Stay with us. When we come back, we're delving deeper into the matters. We're speaking with the experts on what more they want the finance minister to talk about, the approach they want him to adopt. A lot of promises, lot of freebies, but where are they getting the money from? Which money will we use to implement the promises that the NDC has made? So stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. We're back with more.
In a 3FM 60-day Fit Start Challenge. Which team will come up tops? Will it be Team Comfort or Team Helen? Will age and tact act triumph? Or will youth and energy win? Call or WhatsApp on these numbers: 0532 300 927 or 0532 200 927. Now, to join Team Comfort or Team Helen and enjoy holistic wellness coaching, specialized diet plans, and cooking tutorials, thrilling exercises, challenges, and activities, plus many exciting rewards. 3FM Fit Start is sponsored by Daffy's Health and Beauty, Bill's Microfinance and Ugel Premier, and supported by Blue Skies and Vigano Medical Association. 3FM Fit Start, your health, your journey, your victory.
Ghana, it's time to globalize. Gobe Nation and Gobe Eaters Association, it's time to assemble. Get ready for Ghana's ultimate beans-based food festival, 3FM Gobe Festival 2025. This year on the 22nd of March at Lagos City Mall, we're on a mission to celebrate all things beans from your favorite vendors. Come and immerse yourself in an electrifying atmosphere filled with great food, refreshing drinks, live band music, fun games, jama sessions, crown our king and queen of Gobe, and find out who wins Gobeathon amongst many activities. 3FM Gobe Festival on the 22nd of March at Legon City Mall from 10 a.m. If you're an interested vendor or sponsor, please call 0531 100 927 or 0532 200 927 right now. Let's get Gobelicious on the 22nd of March and make history at 3FM's Gobe Festival at Legon City Mall. It's absolutely free. 3FM Gobe Festival 2025, celebrating culture, love, and unity through Gobe. Powered by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. Proudly sponsored by Origin.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Get ready for the revolution. What you say now?
I just wanna praise you.
3FM.
King of kings and Lord of lords, lover of my soul, Jehovah, one and only God. I am Jesus Christ, the Holy Lamb. They come for you, they come for you, they come for you. Yatabuya Kayesu.
What is your favorite scripture?
Well, my favorite scripture is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord. Kwame, that is absolutely my favorite scripture.
Yes, your Inspirational Gospel Mix, a moment to get inspired with the best of inspirational songs and interviews to get you prepared for the new week on every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, your big brother, Kwame Adu, mixing G, mixing gospel. You can't miss it. You are blessed as you listen. 3FM 92.7.
It's the battle of the teams in a 3FM 60-day Fit Start Challenge. Which team will come up tops? Will it be Team Comfort or Team Helen? Will age and tact triumph? Or will youth and energy win? Call or WhatsApp on these numbers: 0532 300 927 or 0532 200 927. Now, to join Team Comfort or Team Helen and enjoy holistic wellness coaching, specialized diet plans, and cooking tutorials, thrilling exercises, challenges, and activities, plus many exciting rewards. 3FM Fit Start is sponsored by Daffy's Health and Beauty, Bill's Microfinance and UGL Premier, and supported by Blue Skies and the Ghana Medical Association. 3FM Fit Start, your health, your journey, your victory.
Ghana, it's time to Gobelize. Gobe Nation and Gobe Eaters Association, it's time to assemble. Get ready for Ghana's ultimate beans-based food festival, 3FM Gobe Festival 2025. This year on the 22nd of March at Lagos City Mall, we're on a mission to celebrate all things beans from your favorite vendors. Come and immerse yourself in an electrifying atmosphere filled with great food, refreshing drinks, live band music, fun games, jama sessions, crown our king and queen of Gobe, and find out who wins Gobeathon amongst many activities. 3FM Gobe Festival on the 22nd of March at Legon City Mall from 10 a.m. If you're an interested vendor or sponsor, please call 0531 100 927 or 0532 200 927 right now. Let's get Gobelicious on the 22nd of March and make history at 3FM's Gobe Festival at Legon City Mall. It's absolutely free. 3FM Gobe Festival 2025, celebrating culture, love, and unity through Gobe. Powered by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. Proudly sponsored by Origin.
3FM Sunrise. 3FM
show. 3FM 92.7.
The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM.
Sunrise.
3FM 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM. 92.7.